All right, hi. So I see there's just 3 people in the room, which is this is a problem here. People don't want to listen, right? Use your user assigned email address. Oh no. Whatever, do whatever it is you want to do. All right. So this was meant to be an informal session and it's going to be an open-ended session. And the idea behind the session is to try and see if people have any issues with assignment number 18. I mean, it's pretty straightforward, but I noticed there were a number of emails that were sent through by certain individuals, right? So I was hoping we could use this opportunity to try and answer whatever questions people might have. Remember that assignment number 18 is due tomorrow at 23:59. Now, even though the submission is going to be done via your respective Google Drive folders, the things that are going to be uploaded after the deadline will not be marked, right? So you'd have noticed from the instructions for assignment number 18 that ideally you're supposed to upload the MP4 file, right? .mp4 files into your respective Google Drive folders, right? And what we mean here is, Hawkins, what is your group number? All right, thank you, sir.
16, sir.
There we
team
go.
1.
You've even forgotten the team.
Team 1,
okay,
sir.
that's fine. Team 1. So what we mean,
I don't know.
What we mean is, if we look at Hawkins group, for instance, what we expect is in here is where you're going to upload whatever it is you've prepared, the screencast itself. If you upload that document, if you upload it after the deadline, it will not be marked. Nobody will mark that thing. I've noticed people have, I see there's nothing here, right? I wonder what they've been doing here. So we can see, right? We have access to the dates here. This is what we mean here. In fact, even better, we have details of who has been doing what on which document. And so when we keep saying we should collaboratively create the document, we are going to pay particular attention to these things here, right? So there's a reason why we're using Google, the shared Google Drives, for instance, because we keep track of what's actually happening, right? This actually also ties into some of the weird comments that were coming through from individuals whose groups never submitted the assignment on time. Those things are not going to be marked. And the questions they were raising is, how do we know if we are doing the right thing? Well, you were told to keep a copy of the proposal in this shared drive. And Lighton is a part of these shared drives, right? If you look at Hawkins' group, for instance, one of these 6 people is Lighton, right? So I keep track of everything that's happening in this group. And in fact, what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure where Hawkins and company decided to dump, but I see it's empty here. I'm not sure why they decided not to upload the the proposal document, right? This is quite strange, Hawkins. But the idea is,
it's there, sir. I just did dump it in the proposal documentation folder. I'll dump it there, sir.
Sorry?
It's there. I just didn't share it with you. I'll share it with you.
No, but it was supposed to be uploaded in here. Which group has done the right thing? Which group was actually followed the instructions? Simfukwe. You guys didn't follow the instructions. There's nobody here. It's quite strange. Sharon, what's your group number?
Group 12.
Yeah, although you didn't do the right thing here. Group 12. So what we mean is, and I think group 12 is one of those groups which reached out to me to find out, well, if we, how are you going? So this is what we mean here, right? If you look at this document, this is the problem here. This right here is the problem, right? You look at this thing here. This thing was being dumped. It was dumped in here. I'm not sure if this was the final version, but you're dumping it the following day, right? At 6. Really? So anyways, what I'm going to do is I will provide feedback, but I'll provide feedback on the version that is on or before the deadline. So in the case of Group 12, for instance, they did not submit the document, so that document is not going to be graded, obviously, but feedback will still be provided, right? And so what I will do is I will gain access to the version of the document, and I guess I could just as well easily just open. What the heck? Sad. So what I will do is, I don't know if you can see my screen here. So we're using this document by group team number 12 here as an example, and I'll have to ask group number 12 to upgrade my permissions here. You notice that I'm a viewer. Please add me as a probably manager or content manager would be better, right? So if you notice, I'm just a commenter. Please change that so that I have access to upgrade my permissions to that thing, so that I'm probably content manager or something. Which other group has a document in their shared drive? Only 6 groups uploaded documents onto Moodle, so I haven't figured out which groups have done the correct thing here. This is equally bad here. Wednesday. You know, so look at what these guys did. They're still making changes, right? So what I would do in this case is I would use this document here, right? The one that was last edited on July 8th. But perhaps I will, because these are just comments, I'll probably gain access to, or rather I'll probably edit the most recent version of the document. But ideally, this thing are version controlled, right? So you have access, we can see what exactly has been happening, right? And we know that you are not following the instructions. You were told to collaboratively edit this document, but you don't want to do that. And that's fine if you don't want to follow the instructions, right? But the idea is this is meant to help you. There's a certain skill that you'll be learning if you follow the instructions, right? But anyways, I want to follow the instructions. So the session was meant to be open-ended here to find out if people have any challenges with creating the screencast, or if you have specific questions that you need me to address. And this also goes to those of you that sent me emails and I responded to the emails. If my response were not very clear, now would be the time for you to maybe just clarify what exactly it was you're trying to put across, and then I'll try my level best to answer whatever questions you might have. Are you done with the screencast, with the presentations? Is there a group that is done? Is there a group that has finished and have prepared their screencast and is already available? Is there a group that has some members that have at least created their section of the presentation? And so all that's remaining is just to stitch together the different segments once the other team members have completed their parts. Okay. Do you want to switch on your microphone, Moewa and company? I don't know if your other team members are online. It appears only one group seems to have finished. Do you want to share your thoughts, to share with the rest of us how far you've gone as a group? Or are you unable to talk or something? Okay, that's fine. Let's see. I don't know if Waze or Jackson is in there, but I see Mary as well. Mary, can you speak on behalf of the team, maybe? How far? She's not here as well. But she's there.
We did a recording of our presentation yesterday.
Okay,
So
there we go.
The segment.
There you go. You're being proactive, right? Now, what you also learn, right? What you also learn is that doing things at the last minute does not work. Literally, all the groups were submitting that on the deadline. I feel of why it's important to, number one, stick to deadlines. Number two, when you're working as a pack, when you're working as a group, you know yourselves by now. Critical tasks must be assigned to people that are responsible. If you remember a while back, one of the interactions identified the personality traits of people that are part of your groups. There's a reason we're doing all those different things. You should know by now who is responsible and who is not, who is good at what. And it's fine, groups are like that, right? Now here's a story. Last year, I was co-opted to be a part of this group where we're bidding for a project, right? A project that involved a substantial amount of money, right? It was made up of faculty staff from the UNZA. However, we had some sort of inside information because work had already been done by some of these people. Some people on the project team had already done some work by the company or by the organization. It's a government entity anyway, but it remained nameless. And they told us that looking at the other people that had bidded, we stood out. Chance that would you might not have directly worked with them, but other position to figure out whether or not individual A or perhaps Lighton is responsible enough to be tasked with such a crucial role. Going forward, if I were you, I would not assign, as a group, do not assign a person that you know full well is not responsible. But of course, this is just a recommendation. You will probably, oh, someone is saying my audio is bad. Is that the case with everybody else? Or maybe, am I?
Yes,
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 it
but
keeps breaking.
Oh, it's breaking? Okay, let me just,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we will repeat this, that's fine, I guess. Let me just switch my guys.
Simon Achan.
Wait,
Simon, shut up.
guys,
Guys, more
guys,
support. Guys, you should support me. I want to talk right. Oh my God, this thing is being recorded. Oh yeah, but still.
yeah, this is being recorded.
Yeah, but
guys,
still, I want to talk to Lighton. Please, can you give us a second chance?
yes,
Post
stop.
in the
Some
group.
of us, it was a network connectivity and other circumstances. Man, I wish you can give us a second chance. Like we've learned from this mistake. We'll be proactive. Just like he's saying, probably he's not it's not his fault, and he's trying to teach us a lesson, or he's giving us the best he can. But on this one, please, at least he gives us a second chance where he marks our late
Submitted document.
yes, like he just marks them, or maybe deducts even 0 point something, but at least he marks and gives us marks. Because losing 2 marks, that's too big. And some of us in our group work better to fear, others are, they stay in places where they can't. I'm even scared to talk to him. I'm scared. I don't even know he's going to shout. I don't know his response. He's going to shout at me. I don't know. But I don't know.
Stop. Why is scared?
That's not going to shout.
He'll make us carry
Don't have to get used by now.
Some of us are emotional. Okay, I'll try my
Just
best.
cry.
All I'm talking is because you submitted yours, huh?
No, I'm encouraging her to talk. You get it? It's better you speak out your mind than keeping it.
Yeah.
I do so.
Instead
Even
of
on
you-
behalf of.
Instead of you just keeping it, you might expect that he might accept.
Okay, I'll give it a try.
It will just like that.
I'll give it a try. Now I'm scared of light
Yeah.
Ganesh, but I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try.
You shouldn't be scared of him. He's also young.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
Mhm.
Thanks, Hawkins.
You're welcome.
Is he back?
No.
Governor, how?
Yes, you're okay.
I'm fine. Long time.
Yeah, it's been long,
Are you done with your geography assignment?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, nice. You're submitting tomorrow, yeah?
I'm supposed to submit at maybe maybe 9 p.m.
When is it? What time is it due?
I've not checked. Is Chengo there? Chengo is quiet. I want to talk to Chengo.
Okay. How far with the video cast? His one was telling you to shut up. You didn't hear her?
Yeah, I heard that.
She's here. She's
Guys,
saying
they
what?
don't
So I'm going to
continue.
talk to her.
So my connection today is a bit unreliable. I have no idea what's happening. All my connections. Is this? Am I still breaking? I just reverted to my old connection. Am I still breaking,
No,
or
you're
am I
not
fine
breaking,
now?
sir.
Or no? All right, great. So I
You're
was saying,
fine
right?
now.
I was telling. All right, thank you. Perfect. Thank you. I was telling you a story about what happened to me last year, right? We're part of this project made up of different people, right? A lot of money involved. It was an important project, obviously, and we lost out after putting in effort. Why? All because of one person that we entrusted to perform a very simple task. But because that person was arguably not reliable, we lost out, right? 5 minutes, and this is how things work out actually in real life. Like when it comes to bidding for projects associated with like government wings or government entities, they take these things very seriously. It's a formal process, right? A lot of red tape here. It has to be transparent. So the bids themselves, there's nothing like using email or fax. You actually have to deliver them, right? So same thing here, things very seriously. That's your own problem, right? The more you neglect these assessments, the more likely it's going to be that you fail this course. And that's a fact, right? If you look at the proportion of of marks that are allocated towards the CA here, you're more likely to fail if you don't take this seriously. That's your own problem, right? I guess you have a lot of money to come back, or you have a lot of time to kill, so you are okay with coming back or not graduating next year, or is it after next year or something? That's your own problem, right? So I'm just gonna welcome whatever questions people might have, concerns that you want to raise. And also just to mention that we went dark here because we wanted to give you an opportunity to finish the proposal part. So we are rebooting. We are rebooting next week. And on that note, we are going to pause for the test because we want the test to include the requirements engineering component, which we haven't yet covered. We had hoped we would cover the requirements engineering component. So we'll give ourselves next week and week after next to finish off at least requirements elicitation, and then we'll write the test. So I'll send out an email and the Moodle announcement indicating the fact that the test has been rescheduled. So we're not having the test on the 24th. We're probably pushing it in the week of August 3rd or something. All right, are there any concerns, questions, challenges that you're experiencing with assignment number 18? Do you need clarification on anything? There were some people that were asking wild questions like, seeing as we did not submit the proposal, are we still eligible to work through assignment number 18? And the answer is yes. Yes, you must do that because these assignments are carved out separately, right? So if you have any questions, please.
Yes, sir. For me, I've got a question, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we write the test, we want to know the assignment, the marks for the assignment we've written so far.
Oh, you mean the grading or the pending assignments?
Yeah, yes, the grading.
Yeah, but,
yes,
but
sir.
the grading is okay. Yeah, the assignment will be marked. I was actually hoping that the tutor would be assigned to this thing by the time we get to that stage. Marking is normally for assessments is normally done by tutors, but the grading will be done before the assignment. So before the test actually. So if you notice, we're saying the test is tentatively going to be held in the week of August 3rd, which is likely going to be the 7th of August. But then all the assignments would have been graded. And really, if you think about this, right, the assignments were done in such a way that some of them don't carry any marks at all, right? Some of them were meant to get you started. The smart ones would have figured out that writing the proposal document was relatively easier because most of the dirty work was already done. You had already created those work breakdown structures, right? So all you had to do is just copy paste from the solutions or the things that you had done as part of those previous assignments. So most of the things that require marking really are just the status reports and the weekly, the minutes essentially. So those things will be ready by the time before you write the test actually. So you should have the marks ready, including the proposal actually.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Yeah, you know, I'm gonna call you out, right? I'll call out this character here. I keep telling you, right? And I was being serious. I don't know if you've got into a stage where you can figure out if someone is serious or if someone is joking. You have to take yourself seriously.
It's better you can propose.
This is you have to take yourself seriously in life, right? Especially at this stage. There's a difference, and I don't mean to look down on people that are in these informal sectors, but there's a difference between someone who is working in an informal sector, like at the bus station, and someone who is being trained the way you're being trained. You should take yourself seriously, right? If you want people to take you seriously, your colleagues, your lecturers to take you seriously, you must take yourself seriously. Musa, you're not serious. Okay. Are there any questions that you might have? Concerns? Especially challenges for the assignment that you do tomorrow.
I do have a
yes.
question, sir. I have a question, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yes, it's concerning recording the screencast for the proposal document presentation. I want to find out, can
Is it just me or is Is everyone not able to hear Macmillan? Yeah, so it's not me. I don't know.
He's gone.
Is anybody else with a
We are unable to get
yeah?
you.
So
I can't
is
hear
anybody
him
else
as
with a
well.
question? Okay.
I have a concern.
Yes.
Sir, can you please,
Software.
I don't know how to say this, but can you please forgive us and give us a second
Hello?
chance concerning the late submission of the proposal document? Please, sir.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Of course. I mean, you're forgiven. I mean, it's not like being forgiven here.
Yeah, but
It's about being
are
transparent.
we
Right?
given a second?
Do you remember what I told you when? Do you remember the one? Pause for a little while. Do you remember what we discussed in the most recent interaction that we had when you were asking for an extension?
Mm-hmm.
I stood here while sitting down, and I actually asked you to tell me how much time you needed. We struck a compromise, obviously. We met halfway through. I asked you, how much extra time do you need? And if you remember what I said, I told you that even if I was to give you a month extra, people would still not be able to submit the assignment because you're not serious. So there's nothing like going back on what has already been decided. The things that have been submitted late are not going to be graded. And this actually applies to the previous assignments as well, right? There are people that have reached out to me in the past asking, trying to find out, can we still submit assignments that were never submitted? I told them, you can submit them if you want to, but they will not be graded, or rather you get a 0, right? Because this idea of getting a 0, something that we discussed on the first day of class. If you remember, we had a face-to-face interaction. I told you this. You actually have access to the syllabus as well. I told you this, right? If you open up the syllabus, there's a statement somewhere here where it was clearly outlined, right? I don't know if you can see this footnote number 5. You were told many months ago, was that February or March or something? You were told this. So it's not like I'm making things up. These things were clearly outlined to you, right? So if you don't want to take your life seriously, that's fine, right? But you must remember that for courses such as this one, you must remember that your behavior, your actions are going to affect your colleagues. And you must remember that all these small little things will gradually build up, right? I don't know if you're aware, but there's this whole notion of the so-called grade point average now. If you perform poorly in 30-20, it's going to adversely affect the GPA score that you get by the time you're graduating. Right? So to answer your question, Alice, the things that were never uploaded, the things that were uploaded late are not going to be marked, or rather they will be marked because I still need to go through those things. We are building up on what you're doing, right? So the proposal is going to feed into the requirements engineering phase. The requirements engineering phase has to feed into the design. So whether you submitted this thing late, I have to read it and annotate it so that you know that you're doing the right thing. But you get a grade of 0 because you submitted it late. Are there any other questions? And I know right now, I know some of you are probably thinking, this guy, why is he being so cruel? I'm not being cruel, right? I'm just following the rules. I'm trying to be fair. And in fact, if you seriously think about this, I'm being fair here. Right? Because if I go back on my word, I would have to go back to the other assignments and tell the people that perhaps did not even bother to submit the assignments because it was late to say, oh, well, there's this concession, so now you can submit the assignment because we've forgiven the people that submitted the assignment late in assignment number 18. So you notice that you are adversely affecting your colleagues as well. So there's nothing like going back on our word. This thing was something that was clearly outlined at the very beginning. It's something that I've been mentioning over and over again. And if you notice, right, I've gone out of my way. I spend extra time for all of these assignments. Have you noticed that I spam you with messages? It takes time for me to open up my mailbox and to craft an email to remind you to submit the assignment. But despite the constant reminders, a day before, hours before, you still decide not to submit the assignment, or rather you still decide to do it at the last minute. right? You're sending me an email at midnight. Oh, I can't submit because Moodle is not working right now. Oh, that's not my problem, right? You are deciding to submit the assignment 5 minutes before. You're taking a chance. You're being reckless with your life. You're being reckless with other people's lives. Are there any other questions? I'm really very keen to find out if people have specific questions related to assignment number 18, in the event that there are certain things that are a bit hazy. There are some comments that came through from people, like, I'm diverting attention, but we can waffle around, and if you think of anything that might not have anything to do with assignment number 18, please feel free and speak your mind out. But there are people that were sending out emails like, oh, my group members have been silent, they're unreachable. I don't know if that's even true, but they're unreachable. So what do we do? And I was responding to them to say, well, you have to make do with the resources you have right now, human resources you have right now. And so if only 2 people are active, then do the 10-minute presentation with just 2 people. The people that are not participating in the presentation will, of course, lose marks. Right? So, again, are there any other specific questions that you might have?
I have a question.
Yep.
Sir,
My question is,
proceed, Alice.
it's what?
Okay, proceed.
Yes, please, Wes.
My question is concerning assignment 18 about the length of the screencast. Is it strictly to 10 minutes, or maybe we can exceed
No, it has to be 10 minutes.
to about maybe 15 minutes, because they said 5 minutes will be for questions and
Yeah, so the idea of the 5-minute, brilliant question, but the idea of for those that are not aware, I don't know if you can see my screen. I'm not sure if it's, oh, let me share my screen. I'm just going to open up assignment number 18. What Wes is asking is, ideally, the way the presentation was supposed to be done is it was supposed to be done in such a way that it was going to be live, right? Where there's an audience, and so you'd be given 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes to do your presentation, and then 5 minutes would be reserved for a Q&A session, right? So because you are creating, and I still think having a live interaction was going to be the way to go here, but because you're not co-located here, you're scattered around, it was just going to be messy here, right? So, which is why you're doing the offline screencast. So the answer is it's still 10 minutes. So the presentation itself has to be 10 minutes in length, and then we're just going to exclude the 5-minute Q&A session, essentially.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So if you notice, I don't know if you can see my screen, if you notice, it says the recorded presentation must be no more than 10 minutes. So if you want, it can be 1 minute long. I don't know whether it's possible, but 1 minute or 2 minutes, but it must not go beyond 10 minutes. Are there any other questions? Have you been
sir,
able
you
to find?
talked of,
Yes.
you talked of people who are not reachable and people who have what of people who have reasons? Like we have a colleague who has a funeral.
Yeah, I don't
So
know about that. I mean,
how is it going to be?
I was never told, that colleague never told me anything. I never got information about that. You can assume if they're not available, you can assume that they're not around. You just create your screencast without them, right? Because if the deadline is tomorrow,
But sorry.
If you have a colleague who has a funeral, sir.
yeah, so exactly what I'm saying, right? If you have a colleague who has a funeral and the assignment is due tomorrow, you just have to make do without them.
So are you going to consider him as are you going to mark, since they're in absentia, is it a 0 or?
Yeah, well,
since he has a reason,
yeah,
are you going to consider them?
assumption is I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not some crow person who is inconsiderate, right? My expectation is that once they settle down, once their head is clear, they will formally reach out to me and explain why they did not participate. In which case, obviously, I mean, the marks won't be deducted. I mean, that's a pretty reasonable. I mean, it's a reason that makes sense, actually, right? So if you were sick and you have proof and maybe you have a bereavement or something, we understand, right? We're not, it's not like we are not human or something. So, yeah, but just make sure that you don't wait for them. Just because they have a funeral, it doesn't mean that you say we're not going to create the screencasts, right?
No, we are going to
It was
present,
just
but the question I was asking on behalf of him because he has a funeral.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
So in line
I'm sure he will reach out to
talking,
you.
you're asking. Can I go ahead?
Yeah, please. Please go ahead, Alice.
Oh yeah, is active. Oh yeah, there's a group, only one
Sorry.
person is active, and unfortunately the mother. And I guess she even
So sorry, I'm not sure. Can I pause for a little while? Is it just me or is Alice breaking up as well? Or maybe it's just my connection?
She is breaking up.
do it after the mother gets better.
Okay.
Oh,
So Alice,
sorry. Can you get me now?
yeah, can get you now.
Oh yeah, so I was asking. There's a group where among the 5, only one person is active, and unfortunately at this moment she's nursing the mother. So is she going to still present the video? I don't know, how is she going to do it? What's your advice on that?
Well, my advice is I think I know the person you're talking about, and I know that she's not the only person who is active. She's actually reached out to me. That person reached out to me to raise that same issue, and I reminded her that I know who is active and who is not active. And in fact, there are group members in the group that she's a part of that are active. So that thing here is now and void, right? I know for a fact that there are people that are active. I know that there are people that are accessing Moodle. If I see you accessing Moodle, then you can't possibly come out and claim that you're not active, right? I know the person you're talking about. So in certain rare instances where we can tell for certain that only one person is active and that person happens to be in an unfortunate position where they're unable to put in the work, then obviously, I mean, would handle such situations on a case-by-case basis, right? But I know the group you're talking about. I know that there are a number of people that are active in that group. I know this for a fact because there are other people in that group that have been in contact with me, right? So I don't think that there's a group actually which is completely dead here. Hello? I'm not sure if I answered Alice's question here, but are there any other questions? Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I thought it was all quiet on the Google Meet front here. And there we go. There's a character who just logged on, who is a part of a group that Alice seems to be. Now, Alice has become spokeswoman here for a group that I know for a fact has a number of people that are active. And this Simfuke character happens to be in the same group that Alice is making reference to. Right? So that thing won't be taken seriously here. Right? You are trying to run away from putting, right? You're trying to be lazy, and usually it's human nature. When you're being lazy and when you're pushed into a corner, you always come up with these excuses, right? Trying to justify why you're unable to do something. You've been given more than enough time. There was an extra 2 weeks added to this. And that 2 weeks was in part added because the same reason you're giving right now was raised when we had that interaction, right? So are there any other questions though? Okay, it appears there are no questions. So if there are no questions, then I guess we just have to wrap this up. But what I want to do is, oh, Mwewa has a question apparently. Yes, seeing as his microphone is a bit iffy here. Do you want to type your question? Right, someone was asking, does the video have to be uploaded to the drive? Yes, so the reason for uploading the video to the drive is number one, this course, right? In this course, you're being taught certain skills. Yes, there's a reason why we're being rigid, right? Part of the reason why you are using Drive is because Moodle has a limit when it comes to uploading content. So the current limit is 25 megabytes, right? And because the limit is 25 megabytes, and I wanted to showcase this idea of the limit being 25 megabytes, because the limit is it 20 megabytes, I think. Because the limit is 20 megabytes, it's likely that this 10-minute MP4 file that you're going to produce will be beyond the threshold that Moodle is able to accept, right? And so to ensure that you adhere to the deadline itself, the submission deadline, we track this using Google Drive. So within Google Drive, we can see who exactly uploaded the document, when it was uploaded, who else was editing the document. So these things we've been talking about ensuring that you rotate the rows, right? As you're generating these meeting minutes, you rotate the rows. We take this very seriously. We know that we can go here and see who exactly was meeting minutes. We can see that for Hawkins group, only Hawkins was uploading these minutes, right? They were not following the instructions. Only one person is uploading these minutes, right? We go to the status report, only one person is uploading these minutes, right? And we can see exactly when they're being uploaded. So when you upload the video to Drive, we know Drive does not have any limit. You have access to unlimited space, by the way, if you are using a user assigned email address. So we know that the limit, the file limit is not an issue. And then also more importantly for us is the deadline. We know exactly when and what time this file is going to be uploaded. So we know that for Hawkins team, for instance, if we go to, maybe Hawkins team is a bad example here because they didn't have this document. If you go to number 8 here, let's see if they have the proposal document. If we go to these guys, we see that the proposal document, right, was uploaded by Trey, which was good, brilliant Trey, by the way, Trey and company. It was uploaded in good time, right, an hour before or something, an hour or so, a little over an hour before the deadline. And we can see who else was editing this document. Now, this is a classic example of people that are following through with instructions. When you're told to say you should collaboratively edit this document, we can trace here. Although, I mean, we see that the editing really was a bit sketchy, but we see that on the 22nd, Julius did something, right? On the 9th of July, Ms. Tole did something to the document. And then on Friday, last week, on the 9th of July, Trey did something to this document. And in fact, when we open up this document, right, what we want to see is to actually see that there's collaboration taking place, right? So if we open up this document, we can trace and this is bad as well. I don't know if I'm online here, but maybe it's to do with, they didn't give me edit access here, but you can see the versions, the versioning that's taking place in the document. Let me see if I can scroll to a document that has, to a group that has, this is so sad. Nobody wants to follow the rules. You just don't want to learn, do you? I guess learning is, you want to learn with a stick, right? You want a stick, not the cow. You want a stick, you want a whip. That's when you will learn. When you're taught that there are penalties, like marks being deducted, getting zeros, that's when you take this very seriously, I think. I have a sneaking suspicion people start taking this seriously because now they know that there are marks at stake. You know, people not following instructions, uploading PDF documents instead of Word documents. Why is it so hard to follow simple instructions, by the way? Really, I mean, and I'm being sincere by asking this question. Why is it so hard when you come here? Why is it so hard that 5 people find it hard to follow simple instructions, right? You come here and you come to the assignment. It's given to you, right? You're told that the assignment is available. And you come to this proposal document assignment. Short words here, right? You open this document. Yes, it's open this document. Look what I did here. You open up this document. You download it. You open it up. What makes it hard for you to just see here, right? That submission instructions clearly laid out in black and white. Do you mean to tell me 5 people, all 5 of you failed to make sense out of this very simple instruction? The proposal must be written exclusively using Google Docs with all members collaboratively editing the document. What's so hard about understanding these simple? Could it be that I'm really bad at writing or phrasing things in English, really? Ensure that you save the document in the documentation folder of the group project shared Google Drive. It must be named like this. What is so hard about following this simple instruction, really? And also, what is so hard about reading this specification, 3 pages? Jesus. Punished, I guess. I don't know.
I have a question.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I don't know, somebody had written a question somewhere, like the recording, are we supposed to show our faces or what? I don't know if that question was tackled or what.
No, that's not strict. You can show it, you can't show it. If I know your voice is fine. It would be nice if you shared, if you can share, you can show your faces. But if you can't, if it's difficult, it's fine. Just a screenshot of the slides as you are playing them back is sufficient.
Okay.
But think about this for a second, right? Some of these things, they might be like small little things that we're sneaking in, but they're meant to teach you certain things that you will find useful. They're skills that you're acquiring. It's not like the people that teach you randomly wake up and make things up, right? Careful thought is placed into what sort of things you want students to learn or pick up. There's a reason why I'm saying you should all participate in editing the document. That way you all get to experience the process. That way you get to experience editing. Oh my God, this thing, it isn't even using the format here. But so you don't have, no, Simon, you don't have to show your faces if you don't want to. If it's hard for you at 3rd year to use a tool like X-Recorder or the other tools that I prescribe to you, if it's difficult for you to do that at 3rd year, it's fine. Don't use your faces. It's fine.
Just asking.
I'm sorry?
I'm saying I was just asking. I'm not saying it's difficult.
Yeah, no, it's not like I'm saying it's difficult for you, but I think I'm saying if it's, then it would be nice, right? It's nice. I'm going to dump these things publicly, right? They'll be available public for the outside world to see the dirty laundry that we have. And I don't care. Not that I don't care. I do care, but it's a learning process, actually. But they're going to be publicly available. So you want to make sure you say things that make sense here.
All right. Thank you.
They're going to be publicly available. Yeah. Are there any other questions? Hey, how far have you gone with 3010? I was banking on the fact that you had covered implementation. How far have you gone with 3010? ICT 3010, how far have you gone with that? Yeah, so there we go. Alice, by the way, this is the person you're talking about, and Musa Musa, the informal character who uses street language, right? Musa has confessed here that him along with Ms. Bulima, the ones that are active, right? So it's not one person who is active. So I know, I keep tabs on WhatsApp, and I know that there's another person who is active because they've reached out to me, so I know that they're active. So it's 3 people that are part of that group. They remain nameless, but it's 3 people, not 2 actually.
So,
I don't know if Macmillan's response for, yes.
anyway, I wanted to answer the question you asked about the ICT repeating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying
Yes.
we are on database design.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's a reason I'm asking this, because I'm trying to see if there's certain topics that we're supposed to cover that make sense when you start implementation, like version control, for instance. So, which is why I keep asking about this, and I'm sure you'll catch up anyway. All right, so if there are no questions, I mean, the idea for this was to just try and see if people have specific questions with regards to question assignment number 18. I do apologize for the noise here, very unruly kids in this part of, I don't know why people behave this way these days, but so the idea of this was to touch base and find out if people have any specific concerns with regards to assignment number 18, if they had specific concerns with the previous assignments that were uploaded. Just to mention that only 6 groups, right? Only 6 groups managed to upload the proposal documents. This is quite sad, but I guess that's fine. You decided to go to do things your own way. So if there are no questions, then I'm going to exit. But
before you
something I wanted to, yes.
Like the question is, the people who were like editing the document, like the proposal document, is it are you going to mark the edited document in Drive, or maybe the 0 is going to the people who failed to upload it to on Moodle?
No, what's graded is the persistent file. What's uploaded to Moodle is what's graded. And there's a reason why what's uploaded to Moodle is typically what's graded anyway, but for most assignments, it's because there's a prescription. And I know what you're thinking. Well, Lighton, but you just said upload the videos to Drive. Well, I'll link those videos to Moodle so that they're available in Moodle. So to answer your question, I mean, what's uploaded to Moodle is ideally what's going to be graded. So the PDF documents that you're dumping there for the proposal, for the final report.
Okay.
Yeah. You must learn to work as a pack, as a group, right? There's a reason, and I kind of guessed that this would happen here, which is why I do this, right? I sit here and instead of doing something more meaningful with my life, I decide to send out emails, constant emails about assignment number 18. If you look at just a sample of assignment number 18 here, I spend a lot of time here, right? Reminding you. The same goes for these other assignments, like assignment number 17. I send out reminders, right? Send this assignment, or it's due, deadline has been extended, right? I send out another reminder telling you on the day itself, right? Early in the morning, 07:45. This thing is due, make sure you upload it. What do you decide to do? You decide to send out an email early in the morning to claim that there was issues to do with load shedding, to claim that, I was experiencing difficulties with the internet. Why are you doing things at the last minute? Is it worth it to lose marks completely because of a penalty associated with exceeding the deadline submission? Or is it better that you submit incomplete work? Are these not the sort of things you discuss as a group? If it's 7 hours or if it's 12 hours and you're still making changes to the document, do you not think that it makes logical sense that as a group you decide to say, you know what, let's just submit this by 15 hours, whether we've finished or not, so that we at least get marks? Are these not the sort of things you discuss? Do you not discuss, who should be assigned the role of submitting things? Do you not discuss these things, or do you just wake up and say, let's just choose this character to submit the assignment? Do you thoroughly think about this? Have you analyzed those personality traits amongst your respective group members to figure out who does things better than who? No, you haven't, have you? Because you haven't bothered to go through lecture series number 4. Or is it number 5? So something else I wanted to mention is, so requirements elicitation, for it to make sense, I think I'm doing something a bit unorthodox here. For it to make sense, I would like to, I guess it's in there. I would like to schedule a live interaction where I get to explain, I'll walk us through a very simple application that's going to be used as an example as we're looking at the various UML artifacts, as we're looking at functional requirements, non-functional requirements, as we're looking at carving out a design, as we're looking at identifying elicitation methods to use. What I want to do is, what's going to happen is we're going to use the case study example, right? But for this case study example to make sense, I would like to explain this in a live, I would like to explain this using a live lecture, sort of like a setup rather than a pre-recorded offline screencast. So what I'm going to do is schedule an interaction either next week or maybe after next week, where I will walk us through this application so that you understand what the application is about, because everything that's going to be discussed from requirements engineering is going to be centered around this case study example. So you see this case study example manifest itself over and over again. So I think it will make sense if you actually have a firm understanding of how this case study application actually, or what it's all about, right? So I am going to schedule, and it's going to be a live lecture, and I hope it works out. And then also something else that I'm planning to experiment with in term 2, which commences on the 27th of this month, is instead of offline lectures, I think I want to see if we can just have pre-scheduled live lectures, right? So we'll return to the normal schedule. We'll have three sessions in a week. These will be live lectures and normal offline screencasts. For now, if it doesn't work out, then we'll revert back to offline screencasts. So there are a couple of things that I want us to experiment with in term number 2. But I want us to start off by, first of all, scheduling an interaction where I get to explain this case study example here. I do encourage you to please, once I schedule the date, please make time and attend this. And incidentally, this case study example happens to be linked to these strange messages that you've been receiving. There's a reason why I put you in the mailing list, by the way. It's not mandatory, but there's a reason why I keep extending invitations to some of these talks that are being given, because for this case study example, by the way, it's linked to some of the ideas that have been discussed by these people that were giving talks. Is it on Monday and yesterday? And some of the talks that you were invited to participate in, I think in the postgraduate course that I'm involved with, 5741. But it's neither here nor there. So just wanted to give you a heads up that I will schedule a live interaction, and I do encourage you to attend the session. All right. Unless if there are any questions, I'm going to log out and let you to, I guess, leave you to gossip if you want to, the last remaining 12.
Just a minute before you go, sir.
Yes, sir.
Away from this, I have a question. Is there a hope for us returning this year in campus?
Well, I don't know. I'm not a member of Senate. The information you have is the same information that I have. And the information that I have, that I use, is available on the UNZA website. Those revised session dates. I did also circulate the email associated with those revised session dates. Just pause, by the way, this is an important question. Can I ask that you just pause for a little while? Let me just, I have an interaction. So I just want to give these people a heads up that I'm going to be give me a second. Sorry for that. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yes. Yeah, in this course, people are mostly active in the WhatsApp group as well. Just coming back. All right. So to answer Mr. Chanyinde's question here, Mr. Simon's question, he's asking, is there hope? I don't know. The information that you should be using is official information being circulated, right? There's an official Facebook page, which I do hope you're a member of. If not, you probably want to do that. But also, the UNZA website has information about the decisions that Senate has made, right? So, for instance, if you look at this announcement that was circulated, this thing has no date here, but it was circulated a few weeks ago. The answer is in here, Simon, right? The answer is in here. The answer is also in the announcement that was circulated on who has been, which students have been given a go-ahead to come through to, this is strange, to come through physically on campus, right? So that would be the 4th years and certain other strange courses like mining engineering, because these are smaller numbers, right? So in terms of hope, Simon, I don't know, but according to what Senate has decided, you'll notice here that term 1 is coming to an end on the 24th, right? Graduation is actually going to be virtual. On the 27th, online lectures continue. This is term 2. So it's online and face-to-face. And the face-to-face part here is associated with postgraduate students and 4th year students. I actually had an interaction, a face-to-face interaction with 4th years that I'm working with here. So in terms of hope, the answer I have for you, Simon, is I don't know, but according to the most recent announcement that was circulated after Senate met and decided, no, there's nothing like coming back for face-to-face interaction. This is July. It's online classes. You should take this very seriously. It's online classes, but what I'm not uncertain about is whether the exams that you're supposed to write in November, between the 16th of November and the 18th of December, I'm not certain as to whether these exams are going to be written on campus, like if you have to come to campus, or if they'll be online, right? But classes are resuming after next week, actually. Term 2 begins after next week. You can see this here. It's here, right? On the 27th. In case you don't have access to this document, I do encourage you to download this document. I do encourage you to bookmark the UNZA website. Not only that, I do encourage you to like the official UNZA Facebook page. Right? Because it turns out that important information is circulated on these different platforms. But first off, it's a website, because information is always uploaded. Everything, all the important decisions that are being made are uploaded on the website. Right? So I hope that answers your question, Master Simon. Right? Like the UNZA page, like Lighton has liked the page. Here's the thing, in closing here, right? And I'm rambling here, but in closing, in life, right? You can take this or leave it if you want, but never rely on what they call the hope strategy. Do not sit there at home and hope that they will say that, oh, you'll be asked to report back online and the semester will be, you reboot the semester, you start from scratch. Don't. Follow the rules. Keep up with the announcements. Don't rely on hearsay, right? Where someone tells you, just because you have certain characters that are part of UNZASU as part of your class there, they'll disseminate certain information, certain decisions that UNZASU has made. UNZASU is not the ultimate body that decides on these things, right? Senate does. Now, UNZASU has, obviously, it has a seat on Senate. They influence the sort of decisions that are being made, but ultimately, if I were you, I would rely on official information. It's not that hard to follow the rules, right? Just all you have to do is show up in life. Just show up. There's a class, show up. There's an assignment, submit the assignment. It's not that hard. Do not risk your future, right? On hearsay, the hope strategy will get you nowhere. Hope is a bad thing. Well, it can be a good thing sometimes. Now you must watch the Shawshank Redemption, right? But hope can be very dangerous sometimes, especially the hope strategy. Do not do that. Guys, take care, and I'll see you. I think next week I'm scheduling an online interaction where I get to explain this. Where I get to explain this thing here I was talking about. So I'll see you when you see me, unless if there's one last question. But I'll see you when you see me. Is that fine? Going once?
It's
Okay, going once, going twice, going twice. Thank you. Bye. Take care. Thanks.